Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, I stole that from Mike Gravelin. Don't worry about it. Don't know who he is? Look up Law Talk with Mike. Great creator. Anyway, guys, I see no one's in here at the moment. Don't know if anyone's going to show up. This was not planned. It's breaking news, so I thought I would go live for my very first time. Don't even know if y'all can hear me or anything. I'm going to go to the producer, the wife. Turn up the volume. Let me know if you hear anything.
I'm not finding anything. All I'm seeing is the update scheduled for 4 o'clock, and it's past 4 o'clock.
Okay. Look again, see if it's live now. Who knows? This may not even be happening, folks. This may be our a figment of our imagination. Oh, one person, showing one person in here. Hello. Kind soul, would you mind saying something in the chat so that we can see if you are there? Let's see here. Okay, it looks like.
Okay.
Yep. Once my wife pops on here, we should be able to see. So, here's what we've got.
Turn the volume up?
Yeah, turn the volume up. Let's give a little bit of a sound check. This is my very first live ever. So forgive me if this is all kind of grab ass. I apologize. First live. I'm glad you guys are here. I'm going to give a couple more minutes, if y'all don't mind, for some folks to come in. Hopefully some more will show up. That way you don't have to do a whole lot of repeating. I know they can rewatch, but I want to try to get as many folks in here as possible. So I'm going to go over, though, what I'm going to bring to y'all. Thanks to a viewer, they were able to locate a couple of court documents that I had not seen due to a fault in my browser. Now, you might remember where I said in my last video on the update how there was a motion to the judge on behalf of Jacob Runyon for permission to travel. We now know where he's going. It gets weird. I had another video planned to release this coming Thursday. Forgive me, my lungs are really mad at me. This next Thursday that was going to talk about his other off-the-water criminal charges that he had coming up and how they may affect the whole walleye cheating trial. Well, that gets weirder too. So anyway, I'm about to get started. I just want to give folks a minute or so to filter in. Please bear with me. My wife is watching the chat. So let me see if I can. Okay. Sorry. I'm just checking to see what all I've got going on here. Anyway, like I said, it's my first live. Y'all are here for the live growing pains, so please bear with me. I don't have StreamYard or any of the other things. No, this is old school. Hey, well, looky there. Isn't the wonderful J-Car? Howdy. Guys, I want to give a quick shout out to J-Car. J-Car is a wonderful, wonderful subscriber, a great friend who has also helped me research a lot of this. J-Car and I were on the phone just prior to going live here, getting some stuff situated. And let me tell you, a lot of this research can also be attributed to her. Absolutely fantastic. J-Car is awesome. So let's get this crazy party started. Breaking news for Mr. Jacob Runyon of the We Have Weights and Fish walleye cheating scandal. Like I said in the last video, he was approved for travel back on the 11th of January. Now, we didn't know where he was going, what he was doing. Now we know. He has been approved for travel in both the walleye cheating scandal case and in his criminal case. I'm going to get to that here in a minute too. he has some off-the-water issues of one charge of domestic violence and one charge of unlawful restraint that he's facing out of Ashtabula Municipal Court there in Ohio. These two court cases are going to collide in a pretty epic way. So let's get to it. Like I said, he was approved for travel. It's going to be February 21st through February 28th. He's got a week vacation coming up. You know where he's going? Aruba. Now, apparently this was a pre-planned vacation before all this crap broke loose. So he and his lawyer petitioned to the judge, can I still travel, coach? Yeah, they let him. Now, it's a family vacation. That's where it gets interesting. Family vacation. Now, last time I checked, the domestic violence case out of Ashtabula, he, like I said, he had to get permission from that judge as well, and got permission on January 30th for that same travel spot there that week in February of the 21st to the 28th. So, the domestic violence case being in that same court, there's no way in hell they're going to allow him to travel with the victim. The victim has a restraining order that was granted. Also, there's been a witness, which we're not for sure is the victim, but could be. There is a witness that they've been trying to get a hold of, and they apparently can't reach in order to serve this person with their notice to appear. If that continues on for too much longer, they may, dump the case. Who knows? Now, let's get real quick to his off-the-water charges, and then I'll go back to something I found out in the walleye cheating trial that is also breaking news as well. Here's what we've got. Ashtabula Municipal Court, like I said, on July 26th of 2022, he was charged with 1 count of domestic violence and 1 count of unlawful restraint. Now, like I said, the victim was granted a restraining order. He did spend a few days in jail. A bond was set. He finally got out. Now, on August 25th, he shows up with his attorney, and pretty quickly, his attorney asked the court to remove them from the case. Why? We don't know. But for whatever reason, his lawyer asked the judge if he could be taken from the case. And apparently that lawyer's name is Patrick Nixon, asked to be removed from the case. Now, you can't just, it's not cut and dried. You can't just ask to be removed from a case. The attorney or the client can neither just say, judge, fire him. Not how it works. If a case is ongoing like that, the judge has to approve it, and there has to be pretty good reason. For whatever reason, the judge saw there was enough validity to it to grant the motion. At the same time, the judge granted the motion for the attorney to be let off the case. The judge also gave a continuance to Jacob Runyon so that he could find new counsel. It took him 4 or 5 days. But on the 29th of August, Christopher Newcomb was his new attorney. Jay Carr says maybe he just didn't pay that attorney, and that could be it. If you don't pay the bills, that is a very legitimate question there, Jay Carr. Abso-freaking-lutely. If you don't pay the bills and that attorney presents it to the judge and says, hey, this jackwagon's not paying me, they can absolutely cut that lawyer loose. Abso-freaking-lutely. It's just speculation, just alleged, but that is an absolute reason why that can happen in that case. So Christopher Newcomb was brought on a few days later on the 29th, added as the new attorney to that criminal trial out of Ashtabula. The trial has been set now for March 24th at 8:30 a.m. Now, you might remember from the last video that the we have weights in fish. Perhaps Aruba family was more important. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true, J. Carr. Absolutely. Um, boy, yeah, that knocked my wheels off. Um, this trial for the domestic violence and the unlawful restraint is only set 3 days. Literally, no, you're good, J. Carr. You're good. Was only set 3 days, literally to the hour and minute of the We Have Weights and Fish trial. We Have Weights and Fish is on the 27th at 8:30 a.m. This one's on the 24th at 8:30 a.m. It's going to be a rough few days for Mr. Runyon. Now, let's say he's found guilty of the domestic violence and the oh, well, thank you, Mr. Gary. Thank you. Let's say that he is convicted of the unlawful restraint and the domestic violence. What happens then? Well, he could be showing up to We Have Weights and Fish in bracelets. Not 100%, but there's a real good possibility of that. So I know everybody else. See, we have some channels that like to watch my material and then come out and say, yeah, very well could be too. He may have to buy the other lady some bracelets while in Aruba. You know, we don't know who he's going to Aruba with, but I doubt it's the victim in the domestic violence case. But yeah, you know, he may have to do the whole Kobe Bryant and pay up with some jewelry. Who knows? That's all speculation. Domestic violence doesn't have to be your partner, right? Domestic violence can be somebody else that lives in the household. Who knows? We don't know the victim. We do know the witness name, which could be the victim, but they're not listed as a victim because of privacy concerns with a victim in domestic violence cases, obviously. So that's the reason why we don't have hardcore information. Yeah, could very well be his other family. Yeah, exactly, J. Carr, absolutely. So that's what we've got going on for that. So 3 days before his We Have Weights and Fish, we've got his domestic violence and unlawful restraint trial going on over in Ashtabula. Now, I find it so freaking weird. One other thing too, when I released the last video on Thursday about about their latest pretrial shenanigans, how just pretrial off and on broken record. Well, there was a pretrial hearing that very day that wasn't entered into the online records yet. That popped up today. Guess what it said? I don't have the exact wording in front of me because it's on my phone and I'm using my phone for the live. It basically said, it added that, oh, I wish I could remember the wording. J. Carr, do you mind getting on that for me? There was some wording added to the last one. J. Carr will look it up and get us the wording, hopefully, if you're still there, Miss J. Carr. Jacob Runyon, if you could look that up for me, the latest pretrial on the 2nd, there was some wording added to it, and I want to get the exact wording correctly. I'll give it to you how I interpreted it. Then when J. Carr finds it, she'll post it in the comments. It basically said that the trial is still scheduled for March. Oh, thank you so much, Titans Husky Life. I appreciate that. That's so awesome. Thank you so much. As you know, we're fans of the good Husky puppy dog too. Love how those suckers communicate. Talkative puppy dogs. Speaking of which, Miss J. Carr has a very talkative puppy dog who we absolutely love. Wonderful puppo. Love the good puppy dog. But the wording was something to the effect of, so talks could still be ongoing. Like maybe they're looking at a settlement after. Oh yeah, something about pursuing a settlement. All this talk I've been throwing you guys about how they're going to fight it. And the trial date's still set. It still looks like they're going to fight it. There was something in the wording that kind of stated that the prosecution may be looking at some kind of a deal. Now, that's not always done because there's a weak case. It can happen because there's a weak case, but it also happens to save the particular court that it's occurring out of money. Trials are money. And if they can save the money, they'll save the money. So I hadn't seen it in previous pretrials or pretrial documents on the resolution talks. Thank you, J-Car. Yes. Resolution. The wording of resolution talks was stuck into the document, saying that they're giving time for resolution talks. Now, could that mean they're looking at a plea? Yeah. Does that mean there'll be a plea? Not necessarily, because by appearances, it looks like there may have been a plea in his domestic violence and unlawful restraint case that he turned down and said, we're going to still go to trial. So, I still, oh man, thank you so much, Max and Sherry White. I appreciate it. Glad you're here. This is awesome, guys. So glad you guys have showed up. And I'm sorry for this being all discombobulated. I wanted to jump on this quick. It's my very first live, and I can't tell you how much it means that each and every one of you guys are here. So yeah, resolution talks ongoing in the We Have Weights and Fish trial. That's newly added language. It's getting down to nut cutting time. Does it mean they'll come up with a plea? No, it doesn't. And like I've said in the last video, right? They both hired pretty potent lawyers, both Runyon and Kaminsky. Now, that could obviously, thank you so much, that could obviously mean too that the better the lawyer, the better the plea. That's just how it goes. And the reason why is if it's true, J-Car, true. I mean, not sure you win with video of a crime. Yes, that's true. However, they're going to have to prove that the fish were in their possession at all times. Now, according to my interview with the tournament director of the Loot Championship Series, he said that he had a spotter on the bank the whole time. Okay, he said that he had someone designated to watch them from the moment they got to the ramp that day. Now, is his spotter, willing to show up to court and testify under oath that he kept his eyes on them the entire time? Is there a break in there? Was there 5 or 10 minutes where he didn't see them? Okay, all that's part of it.
Is it a crime to use cameras and bait to lure fish and find the good spots using an underwater camera?
I'm going to have my wife remind me of that question here in a minute, and I'm going to come back to that because that's a very complicated question. It's a very good question, but a very complicated question. Let me come back to that in a moment. So yeah, when I was doing corporate loss prevention and busting shoplifters and busting internal theft suspects for time card theft, for taking from the till, that kind of thing, one of the elements to the crime was always constant surveillance, meaning from when the person walks in that store to when they walk back to the item and select the item, they conceal it, they pass places of payment, points of sale, and they leave. You have to keep your eye on them the whole time. Otherwise, you don't know if they've ditched the item and you're arresting someone who doesn't have it on them. That's an unlawful stop. That can get your butt sued clean off. So every time we went out the door on somebody, we had to be at least $100,000 to $1 million sure they had that item. Because that's how much that kind of stop went for if you unlawfully detain somebody and accuse them of a crime they didn't commit. There were people that would try to bait loss prevention officers into making a stop when they knew they weren't going to have it on them. There were people out there just like a slip and fall kind of scam. There's a loss prevention scams too. So this spotter that the tournament director had watching them from the moment they came in, they're probably going to be looking for some form of a constant surveillance kind of element. If there's not, but did they ever say the fish were tampered with by another? No, but they've alluded to the fact that they were set up. So that can be roughly kind of construed as that. Doesn't mean that necessarily, but it can be construed as that. So it can definitely be a defense. They can say, hey, if this person didn't see us for 5 or 10 minutes and the fish were sitting over there and we didn't have possession of them, who's to say somebody didn't walk over, pissed off at us, not liking our success, slip a couple of weights in there, and bada boom, bada bang. Right? Is that in the realm of possibility? Yes. But, yeah. Tournament fishing can be kind of cutthroat and complicated. But yeah, so that's the constant surveillance element of it. That's going to be part of what prosecution's going to be looking at to make their case. So that's what you've got there. So at this point, that's what we have. There's now resolution talks ongoing in the Runyon and Kaminsky case, listed under the last pretrial sitting for both Runyon and Kaminsky. That resolution talks are underway. The trial is still set for March 27th. And with Runyon kicking to the curb the prosecution's plea deal for the domestic violence and unlawful restraint case, it tells me he may kick this one to the curb too. I don't know. They seem pretty resolute. They got the good lawyers not only to possibly get a better plea, but obviously to fight it in court. If you have some newbie criminal lawyer or some guy that's kind of lower on the totem pole, and you have somebody come in that, or the prosecutor comes in, sees they're kind of green around the edges, they're going to devour them. If a high-powered, very prominent attorney, like one of the ones that Mr. Kaminsky has, comes in, they're going to be a little bit more amenable to striking a deal that's a bit more tempting for the defendant, right? Because you never know until these things get in front of a jury. You never freaking know. Juries are the consummate wild card in all of this. And remember, they've not asked for a bench trial. They can ask for a bench trial. They've both asked for a jury trial. And then we have Waits and Fish case and Runyon in his domestic violence, unlawful restraint case as well. Now, Mr. Chase Kaminsky also has his off-the-water troubles, which I'll be covering in another video here very soon. I'm tempted to run through it now. I'll lose the video that I already have in the can. But at the same time, if I don't, other people are just going to take my information and say it's theirs. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go completely off cuff, and I'm going to surprise them, and I'm going to give you that information as well. That way, when somebody comes with it after, someone else will. And that way, when someone else comes out with this information after I have, you can look at them and say, Cerebral Tackle did it first. I've had so much of that recently, it's not even funny. But it is what it is. I mean, YouTubers, I guess, can use other YouTubers as sources, but they got to be careful because the information has to be completely finalized and good to go. You have to trust your sources. And one thing that is lost in this day and age is real looking at. Let me see here. Found my information. Sourcing of your information, making sure it's good to go. That's not done anymore by anybody. Okay, here we go. Out of Jefferson Township, Pennsylvania, on October 17th of 2022, Mr. Kaminsky had charges of stalking and harassment against him. He started sending harassing text messages to a woman in Jefferson Township. Tell Captain Treats are on his way. I've already bribed him for this live stream. I bribe Puppy Dog. You tell him his bribe is in the way. Good Captain Jet. Um, let's see here. On October 17th of 2022, Jefferson Township, Pennsylvania, he was accused of tailgating a lady, following her too closely. And so much so she even called police during the incident. He actually followed her to her house. She locked the doors. He was demanding she get out of her car. Now, this isn't Jacob Runyon. This is his partner, Chase Kaminsky. He sat there, demanded she get out of her car. She refused. She locked her doors. Did the good thing. She called police. Police got there. He ended up getting one count of stalking, one count of harassment. Now, on October 28th, he again, real winners, right? On October 28th, he again started sending her harassing messages. And this time, he upped his game. You know what Chase Kaminsky did? Apparently, allegedly, as they like to say these days, he gained access to her Snapchat and email account. At one point, even posing as her on her Snapchat account. Homie Kaminsky is accused of, it's alleged, that he posed as this female on her Snapchat account and gained access to her email. No bueno. Not cool. So when you do that, that will kind of get the popo's attention. So yeah, there we go with that popo time. One of the messages that he supposedly sent to this lady was, quote, "Kiss your ass goodbye." Yeah, could be construed as threatening, right? So, Ashtabula doesn't have the best court records online. Jay Carr and I found that out researching this. So I can't give you any more status than that on that court case. However, if it comes up between now and then, there's a chance he could be in bracelets showing up to the We Have Weights and Fish trial too. So both these guys have had significant off-the-water issues that could very well interact with their We Have Weights and Fish trial. I don't know how Ohio's laws are. From what I've seen, it's kind of squirrely. But I don't know if they count how many felonies, if it's a first strike, second, third strike thing. I don't know whether it will affect sentencing that way, if it can be used in sentencing. Yeah, there you go, J. Carr. Thank you. Exactly. If you could find that information out, that would be fantastic. J. Carr has been such a huge help, guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate J. Carr. And if y'all don't mind, if y'all could, leave a thumbs up in the chat to show some appreciation for Miss J. Carr, I would be very appreciative. J. Carr has been absolutely fantastic through all this. And so come on, honey. Make sure you put your thumbs up in there for Pete's sakes. Come on now.
I'm trying to figure it out.
The wife over here, the producer, she's having too much fun watching. So that's where we're at.
I can't find a thumbs up. That's what I'm saying.
Go to your, like you're going to enter a message and go to your little emoticon.
I know. I'm showing everything but a thumbs up.
If there's a person worse with their phone than myself, it's the missus. So the gentleman who brought this information to me earlier, as far as the Aruba thing, I want to thank you. I don't have your name in front of me right here, and I can't navigate away from the screen to get it. You know who you are. But I still appreciate y'all watching. J. Carr has been absolutely awesome. She has been fantastic, and I appreciate it so very much. So that's what we've got. Sorry it wasn't more exciting than this. And you know, it's been one of those situations where when it rains, it pours. Mr. Wolak, yes. No, not really, Mr. Wolak. The wheels of justice move slowly. Keep in mind, a lot of this back and forth on the discovery has been from the defense, not from the prosecution. The defense keeps saying, "What do you got? What do you got? Please show me what you got. Please show me what you got." So yeah, when that happens, it can take a while. Honestly, it's just been since late September, right? Like September 30th. In the grand scheme of things, that's not that long. You're talking three. You're talking 3 felonies and a misdemeanor. So I think that they're going to, if they go to trial, I think they're going to get it. I know Mr. Warlock and I have had some. Exactly. Prosecutors do not want to go to trial on a case they know they're going to lose. So I think that it's all going to be up to the freaking. It's all going to be up to the defense where they want to take a plea. And the prosecution's not going to just drop this, okay? The prosecution's not going to let this go away. 3 felonies and a misdemeanor. Keep in mind, Mr. Warlock, they actually got an indictment, okay? This wasn't a speeding ticket. This isn't going to court on a speeding ticket where it's just you and the officer's word, maybe a radar that you can say it's out. No Titans Husky Life. I have not. I'm going to get to that here in one moment. Exactly, J. Carr. Thank you so much, Husky's Life. Yeah, I will get to that here in one moment. J. Carr just said it. The fact that they're still proceeding means they know they've got the goods. What they're trying to do, they're trying to wait out the defense right now, okay? They're trying to sit there and give them, oh, wonderful. Thank you from Central Florida's Empire. Appreciate it so much. So glad that you're here. Hope things are doing well out there and hope it's a heck of a lot warmer than it is in our neck of the woods. So basically, the prosecution's going to go through with this, okay? And like Jay Carr said, they're counting on a jury trial. That's it, Mr. Warlock. They're counting on a jury trial. Because all you have to get is one, right, to squash the whole deal. You can get that hung jury. Yeah, Runyon is probably counting on a sympathetic jury. For the sole reason, remember, when he was standing there getting his butt lambasted in front of all the other anglers that were ready just to run him out of Dodge, where was Kaminsky? Hiding, right? He was already heading back to the truck. So what you've got there is a situation where you saw the video. He looked like a deer in headlights, right? So if he's going to do that and he's going to freak out and just kind of clam up there, he's going to count on that jury, look at that and say, that poor guy looked like he was about to get his butt kicked. At which point, he's going to play on the sympathy of the jury for sure. But the prosecution going through with it, they're going to bring him up, or they're at least going to try. But as far as it taking this long, no. That's the wheels of justice. Things move slowly. There's been several motions for discovery back and forth. Keep in mind, Department of Natural Resources, the DNR is involved. You have state police that also held the boat for the Ohio authorities in Pennsylvania at one of their impound lots. So they're going to be called to testify. There's lots of moving parts. So I don't think the fact that it's taken this long means anything. The state did. The court did, yes. Thank you so much for that question. Yes, the court did. And yes, J. Carr, absolutely too much money involved for the cheating. Yes. This is attempted grand theft by deception. That's a hell of a lot of money. They're going to want to pursue it. On the DNA, up on their day of arraignment, they were told that, yes, absolutely, tournament community does want, yeah, being a tournament angler, yeah. There are people wanting to go after them. But the day of their arraignment, they were ordered by the court to submit DNA samples to the sheriff's department within 24 hours. So that did take. The only criteria to that was the fact that they were charged with felonies and they were over the age of 18. That's what prompted the judge to go ahead and make that ruling, because that's the requirement there. Now, let's go ahead and get on to a few questions. If you guys have questions, first question I'm going to address is Titan's Husky Life about the underwater fish cameras. Yep, and that's what I was getting to. So here's what we've got there. As far as laying bait for fish and then catching them, that depends on the state. That in fishing we call chumming. In certain species of fish you can chum. In certain species of fish you can't. It depends on the state, on the species, sometimes on the body of water, the lake, the river. So many things go into whether you can lay bait out for fish that's not like attached to your line or to a specific kind of trap, on whether you can actively bait for fish. As far as the use of the underwater camera, that is also specific to states. Most states will allow you to do underwater filming. I know in our state, in many states, there's lots of videos online. They even make cameras now that go in line on your actual line that attach to like a leader to the center of your line that aim backwards towards your bait so that you can actually watch a fish come up and grab it. That's a thing. They make those cameras specifically for that. They make several other types of underwater cameras, one of which I have. The model I have is old. It's not very good. It's like first or second generation. So it was on trout, yeah, for catfish, yeah, exactly. Yeah, trout lines you can a lot, well, not all states. Many states you can chum and bait out for cat. Baiting for waters for catfish is huge across most of the nation. It just depends on the states where they allow it. Things like congealed blood, maize is a huge thing. Fermented maize is like catfish crack. Catfishermen will bait holes with maize all the time. Other kind of chum with fish parts, that kind of thing, for catfish. Yeah, corn, yeah, absolutely. Corn's big for trout, although a lot of states are starting to ban it because it's not digestible for trout. And it will clog up a trout's belly, get them malnourished, and cause a kill-off. So a lot of states have stopped allowing for chumming with corn. Corn is very much used for, that's a long time when you get people. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Abso-freaking-lutely. That comment is 100% correct. Just like when I was going to go out the door on a shoplifting suspect, I had less time to work with, but I need to make sure all my ducks were in a row before I put hands on them and brought it back inside. Oh, what we call a bad stop or an unlawful detainment is huge. Yeah, old flower. Yep, that's it. That's huge. Yeah, but yeah, having the ducks in a row, abso-freaking-lutely. That's what needs to occur, and the prosecution's not going to let that go. And they will take forever sometimes to get it done. But as far as using the underwater camera, yeah, I've had one. It was a generation 2. They're up to like generation 12 by now. I haven't got it because the waters in my area are not conducive to it. What a lot of people understand about underwater cameras is it's only as good as your light penetration into the water. Because once you get past your point of light penetration, I'll tell you a quick trick if you're out fishing on how to find how deep your light penetrates. Let's say you have on a bright chartreuse lure like a crappie jig or a bass spinnerbait, right? You hold it at the surface of the water and you drop it down slowly throughout the point it disappears. Measure that distance from the surface of the water to where it disappears. Times that by 2. That is how far the light penetrates. Anything past that, you're going to need a high-powered light in order to see the bait, the lure, the fish, whatever it is you're looking for. So a lot of these new cameras now, yeah, power lights that waterproof, yeah. Yes. That's very true too. A lot of them will also use high-powered infrared. Yeah, that's true. Some species will. Some species will get freaked out because it's out of their realm of what they're used to. And a lot of species, if they're really skittish or they're highly pressured in that body of water, will be like, what the hell is this black magic? And they'll take off. Other ones, some species are very aggressive. Some species are aggressive and will charge towards it and want to find it out and get curious. For instance, hybrid striper and striper, they'll want to check it out. In some areas of the country, they're called wipers for the hybrid stripers. Yeah, they will want to check it out. But for sure, some species are more amenable to it than others. And if anybody else has any questions, please feel free to throw them in here before we wrap it up. Anything about the trial, about anything like that related. Just last little bit on the underwater camera. I've wanted to get one for YouTube purposes, but I backed off on it just because of time constraints. Getting a good one is not cheap. Then you got to worry about the power source. Those things drain. If you get one with really high-powered infrared lights that'll show you a lot of detail, you're going to shell out some cha-ching. Many of them will show great demonstration videos, right? All the marketing. And all of it's a load of crap. I mean, I bought my second generation one on an impulse buy. I got a good deal for it, but I bought it on an impulse buy. Because of the marketing, I was sadly mistaken. I took it to one of the clearest freaking lakes in our area and still had a real hard time seeing, even with its high-powered infrared light, at a depth where I knew there was still light penetration. This particular lake got visibility down about 14 feet deep. It was like gin clear water. Even then, I was having a hard time seeing with that camera. Constantly found guilty for the weights and fish. I have that in old notes. Oh goodness gracious! Let me see if I can find that in my old notes real quick. I have my old notes somewhere that has the possible consequences.
While you're looking through your notes,
yes, ma'am.
When Titan came back, he also asked, why don't they just require all fishermen and boats to have a live camera feed from the boat during tournaments?
Oh, I didn't see that question. Cast. Ooh, yes. 1 second. Let me address what Zen just said. And then I'll come. Yes, Zen. As a matter of fact, Zen, and thank you, Husky, for the question. I'll get to that here in 1 second. I didn't see it pop on my screen. What happens is, nope, hold on. I wanted to see that comment here a little bit better. Yes, as a matter of fact, the misdemeanor charge on these three guys and the we have weights and fish trial, that was so they could confiscate the boat. The illegal use of game, that's exactly what that charge was about. In many states, if you're busted in a wildlife violation, let's say hunting, they'll take your gun. Sometimes your truck, your duck boat, whatever the case may be. If it's fishing, you'll take your gear. And like that nice viewer just said, yeah. They won actually, Jay Carr, they won a boat from from another tournament the previous year. And yeah, that's the boat that they actually grabbed. Two guys, sponsors, some recourse. Yes and no. I think the main recourse for the sponsors would be to cut them. Because I guarantee you in that contract, there's going to be some kind of unbecoming clause, some kind of personal conduct clause. Will they be able to get money back from them? That's chancy. They could. A lot of contracts are written that way. That if you screw up, they can come back and try to get that back from you. Will they most likely get it? No. but they can probably cut them loose. I know that this did affect their upcoming sponsorship possibilities. When this whole thing broke, they actually sorry, too close to the camera. When this whole thing broke, they were looking to get sponsorships from Bass Pro Shops, and they were in talk with a few companies. But then they got busted, and it didn't happen. Let's just say folks took off from them whenever this story occurred, right? When it happened, they were persona non grata. Companies didn't want to deal with them.
Hadn't Bass Pro actually dropped the Rossford Swing?
Yes. My wife brings up a good point. The Rossford Walleye Roundup, what they call the spring tournament up there up north. Questioning their sudden. Yes, folks were questioning their recent success, but again, coming from a tournament background, that can happen. I wouldn't question that, because I've had beautiful freaking spurts that come from zeroing. I mean, like very crappy results to just catching fire. That can happen in any tournament. The folks that will question that just basis on that are haters. That happens all the time. That's not unusual in tournaments. As I'm looking for this information, what was the question I need to go back to with?
He asked about, Titan was asking about why don't they require all fishermen to have live camera feed from their
Yes, the live camera feed. Thank you so much, Titan. The live camera feeds, because you start, can it be done? Yes. You get into angles. It's hard to have, you can have a 360 camera, but not placed in a spot where you can get your angles that you're needing to cast everywhere you need to do. Does that make sense? If you have it on a pole where it can see 360, on a backswing, you're going to snag that thing. No angler is going to want to put up with that crap. Number one. Number two, you're not going to have one at the live well. Number three, you're going to need the manpower then to review it all. Then that means you have the tournament director that would then have to either manage all of that themselves or hire a crew to do it. Then you're running up the cost of the tournament to run the tournament. People already fuss about that, even though most of the money for trails goes back to the individuals, and all the money on clubs and like, how do I put this? When you have tournaments that are like Federation Nation, that are the minor leagues of Bassmasters, used to be FLW, that kind of thing. When you have those guys, man, that money goes 100% back to the anglers. So then you're talking about other operating expenses. You can't get it done. Is it an idea? Absolutely. I'm not discounting the idea. I'm saying that technically speaking, there's things that run into that keep that from occurring. And let me see.
Do they have that in the big times, like with bass? Or do they have the cameras in the boats?
Okay, my wife brought up like Major League Fishing. Yes, they have cameras in the boats. That's a bit different because they also have an official in the boat. There's a human aspect of it riding along with them. Now you think, well, why can't I've got the question and comment sections before, and thank you so much for that question because it brings all this up. Other people have asked, why don't these other tournament trails put a person in every boat? Okay. As I'm looking still for this information on those charges, let's go over a few things on that. Again, costs. Are these people are going to be, well, keep in mind, J-Car, at the pro level, with Bass Pro Shops used to have what they call a Marshall program. They are not Bass Pro Shops, pardon me. Woo! Forgive me.
Bassmaster?
Yeah, Bassmaster. Pardon me, Bassmasters, not Bass Pro Shops. Turn on. Yeah, but with new commercial, that would be also considered a commercial drone usage. And you're starting to talk about different laws that apply to commercial drone usage. And unless there's not a single piece of private property that they would have to fly over, I'm pretty sure that would get nixed. Drones have become so popular, and they become popular outpacing the laws around them, that now the laws around them have become so reactionary that they're cutting back on a lot of drone use. Yeah, that and the trick is like Major League Fishing that has an official in the boat. Bassmasters has one in the boat. Bassmasters had a good racket for a little while. Check this out. Bassmasters had a racket where it used to be that the non-boaters got to fish with the boaters. 1 second.
Is that what you're looking for?
I was looking for the charges, like what they would run. Let me think. I'm losing folks. I apologize there. Sorry. Back to my train of thought. Bassmasters had this non-boater thing where you could ride along, actually fish as a co-angler in the Bassmaster events. Then, like a lot of other groups, they cut them out.
12 months in prison.
12 months in prison up to, fifth degree felonies, punishable of up to a year in prison and $2,500 each. That's the answer to the question on the punishment of the charges. So that's 3 years in prison and $2,500. So $7,500. Yeah. So $7,500 in fines. So Bassmaster, when you were a non-boater, you got to drive around. It was a random draw format, okay? So let's say I drew Gerald Swindle. Gerald Swindle and I would fish that day. At the end of the day, it was a random draw, right? So at the end of the day, we would both have to sign statements. I would agree, J. Carr. I would agree. At some point, you have to literally attest to, like when I was in non-boater draw tournaments, we had to both sign slips at the end of the day at weigh-in saying that we were with our partners at all times and we did not see any rule infractions at all times. Now, when Bassmasters got away from having co-anglers in the boat, they had this neat racket of making you pay to be a marshal, and pay a lot. I forget the price, but it was like $700, $800 a tournament to ride around with an angler for a couple of days and attest that they did everything right and just sit back and watch and not be able to fish. Now, granted, the business model ran that out because not everybody wanted to do that. On that, it's like you didn't get to pick who you rode with, right? It was a random draw. So on the random draw, you might get someone that might last a day in the tournament. Or pardon me, too, they might not make the cut once you get past the cut line, past the second day, because they were 4-day tournaments. You might not get past the cut line. If you don't get past the cut line, you paid all that money, you get to go home. Not a lot of people were willing to do that, right? So that lost interest. Now, in Major League Fishing, they have an actual official in the boat that is assessing penalties on the fly. They've got a camera in the boat. They have a live weight scoring system. That's a whole different beast. But you know what else they have too that allows them to do all that? An S-ton of corporate sponsor money that can pay for it. You have Walmart, Land O'Lakes Butter. You have all these corporate entities out there throwing all this money. You can pay for that. So it takes away from the weigh-in, the pomp and circumstance of a weigh-in. If I did good in a tournament, weigh-in was what I was looking forward to, baby. That was the nitty-gritty. That's the fun stuff. That's when you get to show up and show off your catch to the applause and undulation of the crowd, right? Adulation of the crowd, undulation. It's not a Cinco. Anyway, yeah. And yeah, exactly, Coffee Cat. And you get that money. No small tournament could afford that. If someone had asked us to do that back when I was running an organization, I probably would have laughed until I had a coronary, because we were putting our own money into it. Screw having the money around for that. There's no way. All of our money went 100% back to the anglers every single tournament. I mean, if somebody would have said, hey, can we do that? I'd been like, who's going to review? Who's going to pay for the cameras? Who's going to review the footage? Can't do it live feed everywhere. Because keep in mind, when like Major League Fishing takes the stuff with them, they set up their own Wi-Fi. They have their own booster systems. They have ways that can make that happen. Little guys can't. And what these guys are fishing, now, here's another misconception I got to go over too. A lot of people see some of the money involved and say these guys were top-notch, big-time professional anglers. They were not. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to get some enemies. I'm going to get some hate for that. Because everybody fishing the Lute and the Fall Brawl and the Rossford are all going to come at me and say, I'm the a-hole. Oh, real quick, I forgot to address something back there. Bass Pro Shops did cut out of the Rossford Walleye Roundup, the spring tournament, due to this whole cheating fiasco. I think my train of thought left me earlier when I was asked about that. Because those same guys won the first prize in the Rossford Walleye Roundup, which was the boat, Bass Pro Shops cut ties with them. They didn't sponsor them this year. They actually had to cancel that tournament this year. So anyway, with that said, so now I forgot the other topic I was on. You know, with me, it's all about getting this. With me, it's like squirrel. I mean, I run off after freaking squirrel. But yeah, so where was I, producer?
You were talking about how much money it costs.
How much money it costs? Thank you. So yeah, with that said, what happens is it's so expensive that Major League Fishing can do it. Smaller tournament organizations can't. Oh yeah, these guys not being pros, they were in a regional trail. Is it a big deal to them? Yes, and I'm not taking that away from them at all. I am not taking that away from them. When I say that they're not, quote, professionals, I mean they're not the extreme top tier, okay? They're in that next rung down. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not throwing stones at that at all, okay? Because that is much of what I participate in. I'm just calling it like it is. So when people say, oh, they were fishing for $100,000 every tournament, that's just not correct. That's not how any of this works. Oh, well, looky freaking who? Doctor Who Design. Let me tell you something about that man. That man is the baddest man on the planet when it comes to doing websites, doing your web optimization, helping out with your channel. He is my channel manager. He is a fantastic dude. Guy is so freaking well versed in anything online and computer related. The guy's like a Photoshop and like photographics genius. Yeah. Dang, big tournament coming near me, prize $150,000. Let me tell you, Doctor Who, seriously, Doctor Who is a bad man. My channel logo and my channel art, this logo right here, that is all Doctor Who Design. That cat, let me tell you, the dude is just a freaking genius. So give some love to Doctor Who Design. J-Car, if you don't mind, J-Car, looking up what tournament that is, maybe I know a little something about it. If it's $150,000, there's a good chance it's going to be either one of the major events, or sometimes regional major events can have that much of a prize. Not always. Generally speaking, if it's going to be up around the 100 to 150 grand range, it's going to be something along the lines of a Bassmaster or an FLW event or MLF event. Keep saying FLW. Yeah, that's a sensitive subject. With that said, true story, I actually fished an FLW state championship, one of their state championships. I fished many BASS state championships. But FLW, I fished one of theirs immediately after a surgery. And if they're including a boat as a prize as well, it's Big Bass Tour, BBT. Wow, BBT. BBT is still out. Wow. Whoo. boy, I have some stories about BBT. I might not want to get into that today. BBT, BBT is a regional thing, can offer a big one-time prize. Like they'll have a couple tournaments in a state, then they'll move on to another state and have a couple of tournaments. They hourly paybacks. There it is. There it is. Hourly paybacks. Okay. Hourly paybacks is what I like to call a gimmick tournament. That's not an insult. It means it's not a regular bass tournament like these guys. These guys competed in a full-on tournament day. Anytime you have an hourly payback, an hourly tournament, you all launch at the same time. You don't have to in a lot of cases. You go out there, you fish during the tournament day, but you're allowed to bring in one fish every hour. It's the biggest fish of that hour is going to win the prize. And then you have a stair step down of second, third, fourth, fifth place. Yeah, 250, 3 day 250, 2 day 165, 1 day 150 youth. Yeah, what that gets you, that allows you to fish 1 day or all 3 days. You bring in your one fish an hour, which means you'll also be listening to a local radio station. Fun fact about this format. They'll broadcast what weight is winning that hour on a local radio station, so they'll always pair up with that. Or sometimes they'll have a specific radio channel. Yeah, first, 1,000, second, 500, third, 300, fourth, 250, fifth. Yeah, perfect. That's an hourly tournament. Where the boat comes in is the biggest fish over the course of the 3 days wins the big prize, the boat. Otherwise, you get one of those prizes, as J. Carr just mentioned, as you go down every hour. So it's it's a 3 day tournament. You can fish, like J. Carr pointed out, 1, 2, 3 days. You can enter in one fish an hour for every hour of the tournament. And based upon who has the first through sixth biggest fish, depends on the prize they get. A very good friend of mine is a master at this. Ooh, I can slip in this story. I've got a very good friend by the name of Sean. Sean is a bad, bad man. Well, I'm going to be careful what I say. I wonder if there's some top secret stuff my wife is telling me about this story that I can't tell. Let's just say that he won a wonderful big bass tournament on a local lake based upon, I don't want to put out too much information, based upon a lure that I designed for him. I'll leave it at that. And I get a call that morning, and he's like, I get the call from him. I know he's out there fishing this big bass tournament, right? And I'm like, so each hour, sorry, I didn't see the other ones. Jerry Gobble tried to explain that to me. Oh yeah, exactly. I'm trying to be very careful with my words. Sorry guys, I didn't see those last chats. Yeah, Zen, I understand. The trick to that is once you get into tournament angling, you get in the competitive nature of it, it becomes addictive. There's a problem. You say that and you're right. But once you dabble in it, yeah, it's going to get you hooked because it's way too much fun. So my buddy calls me early in the morning. I'm thinking, he's supposed to be out fishing in the water. Why in the hell am I getting this phone call? I said, what are you doing? They had come in out of conservation reasons, to also weigh, pardon me, this was an hourly tournament. Correction. I just screwed that up. This was not.
Totally screwed that up.
Yeah, I did.
You totally screwed that up, yeah.
I'm sorry. This was not an hourly tournament. So I'll save this story for another day. This was not an hourly gimmick tournament. Yeah.
Well, we did, however, know someone who won a boat who thought they were a wonderful fisherman. And
holy hell. She brings up this. I had this other friend that actually did win a boat in the gimmick tournament. Not because he had the biggest fish. This particular tournament gave away a boat. Check how janky this is. If you brought in a bass that weighed exactly 3 pounds on the dot, your scales aren't going to be the same as their scales. We're talking hundredths of a weight, hundreds to a thousandths of, of a decimal point there on an ounce, right? This jackwagon brought in a fish that he knew was close. I'll be damned if it didn't do. That's the way to do it, J-Car. I'll be damned if it didn't weigh exactly 3 pounds and he wins a boat. Now I get a call from him, from his wife. As I'm trying to go to bed, I'm on the road on tour. I get a call from his wife saying, he just won, his nickname is Patch. Patch just won a boat. He just won a boat. Are you S-ing me? That's really what I need to hear for the night before a big tournament, right? Is that my buddy, who is a Yahoo and is not a tournament angler, accidentally lucked himself in to a boat in a gimmick tournament. It's like I wanted to ask her, do I need to stand up so you can hit me in the other nut too? I mean, my gosh. I remember not sleeping much that night and just laying over in bed freaking fuming. I know they were excited, but yeah. No, that one was not on my lure. That one was not caught on my lure, no. That's a different friend. I switched horses in midstream there because my buddy that caught the big, or had the big wonderful limit on the bait I created was a different one. That was a different one. So yeah. Oh no, if I would have been producing lures at this point and Patch would have got this 3-pounder on that, there would have been some solace to it. I would have at least asked for a ride a couple of times. But no such luck. All I got was bragging from a friend. And ruthless friends can be, right? Anyway, so that's where we're at there. So as far as, let's see, I've got the question out of the way on that. What was I got the other question from Titan, right? I want to make sure, guys, I got all your questions. If I haven't addressed your question, please throw it up in chat now. I want to make sure I address everybody and I get everybody there. Let me see where we're at. Okay. So I want to make sure that I get everybody's questions in. If you have any more questions on the Runyon and Kaminsky, which what this live is originally about, feel free to ask. Like I said, I'm easily distracted, so if y'all want to throw another question out there, feel free. I'll try to answer it before we wrap it up. But yeah, apparently, just a quick recap for those of you coming in late, it appears that Runyon has got permission to travel on March 21st through 28th, I guess it was, to go to Aruba with family. Now that family is I don't know what Eat Squawk Pooper Pete's talking about. Yes, a cast net is what it sounds like. A cast net is a round shaped net that's on a cord that runs through the center of it. And the cord has a cylindrical thing, and yep, that's exactly what they're used for, what they're supposed to be used for. And that cord runs down the center and helps close in on the fish. When you throw it out, it throws a wide loop. Have you ever seen these Nat Geo shows and whatnot where they'll throw out this wide hooping style of net that lands on the water and sinks straight down? It has weights all around the edges, sinks straight down. When you pull up on the cord, the cylindrical thing collapses, causing it to collapse, trapping the fish inside. I used to use them for bait fish too when I was a kid. So yeah, I believe it was March here again. I don't have it in front of me. I believe it was in March. February 21st through February 28th is his vacation to Aruba, which has been approved by both courts. His domestic violence and unlawful restraint charge is going to come to trial on March 24th. at 8:30 a.m. 3 days later, on the 27th at 8:30 a.m., is going to be the We Have Weights in fish trial. So we will see how both progresses. If there's any more information that comes down the pipe between now and then, I will let you know. Again, sorry for how wild ass this live has been. It's my first time. I don't have the StreamYard and all the other stuff. I've got my lowly little phone and making do with what I can make do. Nonetheless, so many of you guys have stayed along, and I appreciate it more than you know. It means the absolute world. Thank you guys so much. Honestly, this went a lot better than I thought. Thank you, J-Car, for checking on that. I'm pretty sure the We Have Weights and Fish will not be Zoomed. I'll have to look into my notes further, but I think I called on that back when all these pre-trials were coming up, and that they didn't. I will, however, be making further friends, or trying to make some further friends with her. Garlic, yep, absolutely. Them hot dogs. Oh, thank you so much, Coffee Cat. I appreciate that so much. You're awesome. Thank you. And on the hot dogs for bait, oh man, you can marinate hot dogs for so many things. They are a wonderful catfish bait for a lot of local ponds and streams. People marinate them in congealed blood. They marinate them in like garlic, that kind of thing. Grasshoppers. Nothing wrong with frogs. Frogs and grasshoppers to catch bass and bluegill both, as well as other panfish, or at least the grasshoppers will catch other panfish. But man, the hot dogs, that's old school. Oh man, you got me thinking back. I used to actually check those out myself and marinate them in my own concoctions growing up. And chicken liver has always been a go-to as well, but keeping it on the freaking hook. We used to do little bait sacks where you cut out a little square pantyhose, pack the chicken liver in that and put it on a hook. Beef liver, yeah. Beef liver too, absolutely. With catfish, especially channel catfish, if it's bloody and has texture to it, they want it. So, well, I guess that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you guys. Again, I know it's been long and convoluted and full of distractions, but I had to get my feet wet in it sometime. And I'm just glad each and every one of you guys were here for the ride. Yep. I tell you, I've caught more channel cat on chicken liver than I can freaking count. And it used to be like the old cut shrimp. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Another thing was like to go by the bait stores and get those head-on shrimp and just peel off the head and the shell and the tail and thread those on there. But bluegill, those little bait stealers, they'll sit there at the freaking shrimp till it's gone. Everything likes a good shrimp. Oh boy, the memories as a kid. The hot dogs, if you cut them up into slices about like that and marinate them in something. My wife and I used to chum. We used to do this fun thing of catching huge carp on ultralight spinning gear. I don't think I would do the manure pile. You're braver than I am, J-Car. You're braver than I am. Nope. I don't. Nope. Keep me away from the crap worms. Nope. Nope. Better you than me. I don't think I would. No. No, I would be retching. I'm got such a weak stomach. No. Talk about weak stomach. There's a story coming up that you guys would love that. Oh gosh, you're killing me, J-Car. Anyway, sorry. There's a story that I can't release now because it'll ruin a video. But there's a story about me having a weak stomach that I'm not going to do any spoilers. I'm going to try to make Friday story time. If I can produce a video enough where I get, if I could, spikes, love spikes. You know what? I was just telling J-Car the other day what spikes are. Spikes are a northern bait. You guys from up north will know what a spike is. And little colored maggies for trout and stuff. That's always been good. Night crawlers for cats. Abso-freaking. Oh, hey, Robert. If it isn't our prize winner of the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, Mr. Robert True. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're here, Robert. Yeah, spikes and waxworms, little mealworms, and the multicolored maggots that are raised. They are trout killers. If trout aren't eating them, there's no trout there. You might as well leave and go on somewhere else. But we had a family trip back in April, and I ordered some spikes, waxies, and whatnot from Michigan. Had them delivered live to the place we were staying, and it was awesome. Backyard for grass shrimp. That's interesting. You must be in a coastal area. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. You said, grass shrimp. Absolutely. Crawfish. Yeah, crawfish are. My wife and I caught some crawfish here several years ago. We did one of those bait sacks. I know I keep talking. You know me. Like I was telling you about using the bait sacks, the pantyhose with like the chicken liver and whatnot. We did that using sardines in oil and tuna in oil. And we put them into a pouch about like this, okay? And we would put them in crawfish traps and leave them and bait the hell out of crawfish. This was back when it was legal to use crawfish from waters in which you didn't catch them from. Because yahoos have allowed for the transportation of zebra mussels into waters that you zebra mussels are a very invasive species, and they can cause horrible problems to water systems. And so one of the ways you can keep them from transporting them accidentally to another lake is wash out your bait bucket, make sure you rinse and wash your live well out, and make sure both dry completely before taking them on the next lake. So some states, I plan on doing that, and I'm really going to try to do that. The trick is going to be making sure I have the right gear and a good Wi-Fi connection where I go.
I thought you were going to say a good wife.
You hear that? She thought I was going to say good wife. Good Wi-Fi, not good wife.
Sorry.
I'm a smart aleck, and I'm having to really resist, because if I say something, y'all see me get hit upside the head alive. But yeah, I plan on doing that. But we yeah, I can do it. Girl, yeah. But yeah, we made these keep it in tackle. Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, I woke up today and did not choose violence. But yeah, so we use these bait sacks and put them in there, and that combination of anchovies in oil and tuna oil, the crawfish could not resist. But due to the zebra mussels, now you can't do that anymore. You can't catch bait that's in one body of water and take it to another body of water to fish with it, because they're worried you're going to transport. I've got a good friend from up north, and I'm going to be tying some jigs. Well, I've tied some jigs for him. I'm going to be wire tying them here soon. But we got so many crawfish in those traps. I kid you not, I was going to leave them on like a 12-hour soak. Oh, the wife loves to fish. She doesn't like being on camera, but she loves to fish. But we went up there. We like I said, I was going to do a 12-hour soak on these to get these baits ready for a get ready for a trip. We went back in like 4 hours because we were running short on time, 4 or 5 hours. You know what? Oh, J-Car, Snakehead. Snakehead fish. They're horrible. They're horribly invasive. That's it. Snake. Oh, and you know what, man? If I don't think I would survive in Florida too long. I think Florida man would take me out in Florida. Florida would take me out in Florida. Or I would get arrested because of my reaction to Florida man. We've watched too many videos on some Florida man antics, and I don't think I could deal with it's not an indictment on everybody in Florida. Please take no offense. It's not. But you know what I'm talking about. There's some folks in Florida, I don't think I could do that. I think that would be kind of an S show. I would hit the wrong person the wrong way. They would come at me the wrong way or something, and it wouldn't be good. But we went back. I keep getting off. We went back to these bait traps and found like 200, 300 crawfish a piece. Like if we would have left it there for the 12 hours we were planning on, they were cannibals. There was already empty shells where they had eaten each other. We had so many. I would do that, Coffee Cat. I would do a catch, clean, and cook. However, we have one problem there. I
ain't cooking the fish.
Hear that? She ain't cooking the fish.
I can bake them. That's about it.
Yeah, she can bake them pretty good. I'm gonna leave it at that. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Let me see something real quick here. I wanted to see. Somebody just do a quick post so I can scroll up and see what the last comment was. There we go. Thank you. I'll try to spell. Yeah. No fry with tackle. No fish fry with tackle. Mine road trip. Oh, yeah. Well, that would be fun. That would be fun. All of us get together for a fishing trip. That would be a freaking blast. But man, that would be fun. Well, what's this? Yeah. Oh, no.
J-Car says if you clean it, she'll cook it.
You clean it? Okay. We could do that.
I'm there.
Yeah. Well, we could do that. That would be a fun freaking trip. I love to fish new waters. I would love to get out your way and trout fish some of those waters. That would be a freaking blast. Absolutely, that would be awesome. I have a little trout bait, which at some point I'm going to reveal to you guys. I can trout. I'm still pretty good at. I got to be careful how long I sit and what position I sit in because of my back. But I can cook them. I mean, I can clean them. Don't want me cooking. No, that's worse. Nobody wants me cooking them. Captain won't give up his room. Oh, Captain may have to hang out with me. What if Captain wants to hang out with me a little bit?
Kick you out and let Captain stay there with me.
You hear that? She said she'd just kick me out and let Captain stay in there with her. But what if I want to snuggle with a good puppy dog? I'm always up for a snuggle with a good puppy dog. Captain's cool. You know Captain likes me. When Captain J-Car's dog, whenever J-Car and I are on the phone, Captain will come up and push down the phone and talk to me on the phone. Talk about a good puppy dog. He loves talking to me. I love chat with him too. He's a good puppy dog. He's a good boy. So, well guys, I guess my back is starting to give me the middle finger, actually both. Oh, he's talking to me. He's hearing my voice. Good puppy. Good puppy, Captain. Man, he is the cutest dog. Oh, goodness gracious. Really makes me miss Arceli. You know, our Arceli dog passed back in December of 2020 from cancer. He was inoperable. We found out in July he didn't have long to live. We did this whole thing of a bucket list, took him fishing to all his favorite places. In his last 4 fishing trips, we caught 90 fish. Trout, walleye, all kinds of crappie, a few bass, some catfish. Just really tore him up with him. And as you see on one of my video shorts, he always loves, aww. He always used to jump up and give the fish kisses before we released it. Yeah, it was his party trick, but he had to give the fish kisses. So miss my Sully boy. And that's what you see in the short video is him wanting to try to jump at it before he gets back. He got stomach issues later in life, so we didn't let him kiss the fish as much because we didn't want to piss off his stomach. He was on a prescription diet that he had to very closely adhere to. We didn't know everything was going on with the cancer. He ended up having tumors all over him and one on his adrenal gland, all of it. Bass Fishing Productions videos, catch fish, Walmart drains. Yeah, that's something I've wanted to do too, is the drain fishing. That seems weird. Now, there's a trick to the drain fishing. The drain fishing, you have to get around a body of water that has an active drain system that has fish. Like, let's say a public city lake that you know has fish in it. If you get into the drain system surrounding it, you can catch fish. Yeah, I've seen fish up in creeks, in city creeks where there shouldn't be fish. But at least above them or below them, there is some body of water that will flood, and fish will either come down or back up into them. Yes, I will absolutely fish in a drain, but not dig through horse crap for worms. You got me. Absolutely freaking true. Yep. I'll touch a fish all day, because you know why? You know why? I can catch that fish. I can release him. I can wash my hands. I dig through that poop. If no matter how hard I wash underneath my fingernails, everything else, if I put my hand up to my face and I smell crap later, I'm wrenching. As a kid, I used to love fishing with stink bait for catfish. But you know what drove me freaking batty? Having that damn smell on my hands for the next 3 freaking months. It's like you could bleach your hands, you could do all but put them through a flamethrower, and that scent would not come off. Worst part about that was throwing it and not catching the damn thing. That's insult to injury. Because now you've got the smell and you didn't even get to catch a fish. So, gotta freaking love it. Boy, those are the days. You know, when I was a kid, we actually had a vending machine that sold catfish bait. The bag stink bait, like the King Cat and the Strike King, that kind of thing. Walking cow mud. J-Car. Cheating in a tournament is enough to keep you from...
Beach Boys.
Huh?
His comments. Beach Boys.
I want to see by a thumbs up. Did you smell? Good. That Kokomo comment, I'm going to have a hard time. That's a dad joke of all dad jokes. I'm not going to dignify that one with a response. Beach Boys, Florida, fishing, Beach Boys coming.
Aruba, Jamaica,
Aruba, right there. Tie in at least our whole thing, the breaking news of Jacob Runyan getting to go to Aruba with his family. Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't want to ruin anybody's privacy, okay? I'm not out to expose any victim of domestic violence. That's deplorable. I would never do that. I'm saying it would be interesting to know whether this person was just another person in the household or whether it was a girlfriend, you know what I mean? Somebody other, who knows? But apparently he had this vacation planned well before all this, and he's still getting to take it. That's true. I have heard of that, Robert. I have absolutely heard of that. Boy, howdy. That reminds me back, there's a person I worked with, I'll just say that at one point, that grew up in the country. And when he was a kid, he used to take the old crank telephones down to the creek and crank it, creating the electrical current. temporarily shocking fish to bring them up, illegal as hell. He did it when he was a kid, and he was considerably older than me. But yeah, that's not an old wives' tale. That crap used to be done. And of course, they do electroshocking to temporarily stun fish for purposes of counting fish now. How the state wildlife large firecrackers, I never used that. I never used like the M80s and that kind of stuff, or the cherry bombs. I've never used any illegal method to catch a fish. Let me go ahead and put that out there while I'm at it. I just want to make sure that's clear for any game wardens watching. I've never done that. Seriously though, I haven't. I've known people who have, and thank goodness they hadn't done it around me.
It says used to catch the bait.
Used to catch the bait. Oh. Yeah.
You had some dynamite action going on in your head.
Yeah, but at this, yeah. At the same time, let's say a crappie floats up too. The game warden going to say, "Well, you were just looking for minnows or shad." He's going to say, "Come with me. Let's have a talk in my car." But yeah, and like the person said earlier about the confiscation frogs, yep, and they'll pop up the frogs for sure. They'll confiscation of the fishing gear based upon the criminal charges. That happens in, like I said, almost any state. I've watched it happen. I've been there when someone got ticketed for having when two guys got ticketed for not having a license and for keeping an undersized bass. And the first thing the game warden did was put them in their car, come back down to where I was fishing, where they were nearby, in an indoor fishing barge. Grabbed all their gear, their rods. They didn't have the old like camping chairs at that point, but their rods, their tackle boxes, their bucket, took it back up, put it in the back of his vehicle and took it too. Yes. Now, granted, this particular instance was back at, now, by the way, the gear Runyan and Kaminsky used, I guarantee you was good stuff. It's a lot of that so high dollar now has become so good that it's quality top of the line stuff. Back in the 80s, it was the beginning stuff, right? The Zebcos, that kind of stuff. You could get good stuff. I didn't have good stuff. I was too young and dumb and inexperienced. I had one that, I had to try to learn how to use. Pulling it off my friend's Doc Minnows and crawdads. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I've used a cane pole too. Oh boy. I used a cane pole for the nostalgia of it when I was a kid, just so I could say I caught fish on a cane pole. Hardest part is twisting that cane pole fast enough to wrap the line around that small little diameter tip on a cane pole to get the fish out of the water. That was the hardest part. Yeah, hey, nothing wrong with that. I don't see them in a lot of states now. Once in a while I'll run across one somewhere on the road. Now they're not like they used to be where they were one piece and super long. Now they're having like two-piece cane poles. Just run backwards. And so I did my very first fish when I was a little kid. I was 4 years old. The catfish was about yay long. And I thought it was going to pull me in the dadgum water. So I just reeled down as much as I could, dragged, pulling against it. And I just ran backwards and pulled him up on the bank. With a Cansom line, yes. Absolutely. I ran across that as well. And how folks do that. Holy crap. Have y'all seen that where folks have like a Coke can line? Real quick. Give me 2 seconds, Chuck. They'd throw the bait out, run the line around it to reel it in. It was like a little George. Thing throws a mile, but how in the hell you reel it in fast enough to keep a heavy little George from hitting the bottom? I don't know. Chuck, the update is on the 30th of January, in one case, in Jacob Runyon's domestic violence and unlawful restraint charge. And on, when was it? The 11th of the other one? And I want to say on January 11th of the We Have Weights and Fish trial, Jacob Runyon, thank you. Jacob Runyon was granted permission by both courts, the courts with his domestic violence case and the courts with the We Have Weights and Fish case, to travel outside the state, specifically to Aruba, on a pre-planned vacation. So apparently he's had this vacation in the works for quite some time before all this criminality and these charges were brought up. So he was allowed to still take that trip with family. It's probably not with the victim of the domestic violence charge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My understanding is that he had to pay an additional bond to do that, I think. I think that's what Jay Carr and I determined. But normally it can be allowed, but yeah, Aruba seems a bit far, but I don't know. We'll see. They went up suddenly to $3,500 from $2,500. Yeah, that's right. That probably was to allow for that little extra financial incentive to getting back to court. But yeah, he applied for the permission to leave the jurisdiction on travel in both courts, with both courts granted it. He's going to be gone from March. I just had it again a while ago. From March, or pardon me, not March. I keep saying March. He's going to be in Aruba from February 21st to February 28th. So 1 week during February, he's going to go to Aruba. Jay Carr, keeping me honest. Going to go to Aruba with, quote, family. And like I said, I'm assuming it's not, they didn't mention a monitor, but I wouldn't doubt it. They'll probably monitor the passport entries, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know who the victim of the domestic assault was, but that person, according to court records, has, thank you, Jay Carr. Yeah, apparently that person has a restraining order, protective order out against him. So I doubt that person will be in attendance.
Didn't you say something about how he has to have contact daily with his lawyer or something like that?
I didn't.
Okay, I just had turned it up there.
The wife / producer over here is dreaming things up. But yeah, so he's going to be allowed to travel to Aruba. We'll see. We'll see how that works. I wouldn't doubt it, though. It would be a good idea for him to have daily contact with either the courts or his lawyer or somebody that can act on his behalf while he's gone. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, if I was a judge and I could amend that, I would do it. I don't see a problem with it. You think he could take 30 seconds out of his day to call and check in, right? Oh, could you have read it from Jay Carr?
No, I could have swore I heard you say it.
Oh, Jay Carr said she thought she read that. Thank you, Jay Carr. Yeah, that very well could be the case then. So, if that's the case, then that's good news. Oh, you read it to me. Okay. Yeah, with everything going on, I don't doubt it. I don't freaking doubt it. I was, you know how I am.
I wanted to say out loud what it was in case they didn't hear.
Yeah, the daily contact. The point was daily contact with lawyer while he's gone. Probably a good idea. That is a good question, Chuckers. That's a good question. You know what? It could be, but I would. Why in the hell would the judge allow it to a country that they knew had a non-extradition policy with? Now, the disclaimer I'm going to give this is Ohio. Anything goes. It is Ohio. Exactly right. It is Ohio. Can you look at that real quick, baby?
I'm trying to do.
The wife's on that one. Yeah, that could be. Wouldn't that be a hell of a story if he hauls ass there and never comes back? Man, can you? Okay, there's a lot of things that I think if push comes to shove, a lot of people would want to haul ass over with criminal charges, right? They'd want to go and never be found again. I can see that. Over the we have weights and fish, but you put the domestic charge and the unlawful restraint charge as a cherry on top. Man. All I know is y'all remember that viral video. He looked like he was taking a load in his shorts as everybody was confronting him. That was the look of a man with deer in the headlights, right? So Aruba, United States, Netherlands, extradition. Aruba provides for the extradition of nationals. There we go. J. Carr found it. Yep, there is an extradition treaty, so we don't got to worry about that late. Let's see here. Hard to believe it would be a good idea to trust him now. Yeah, and that's the whole purpose for bond, is that's why they increased the bond. I'm sure Chuck was to bond is there just to give an extra assurance that the person's going to show up. And with all these charges being the first he's had in his life, other than what looks like maybe some traffic infractions, they're going to be inclined to give it to him because it isn't not a violent crime. You have the other one, monitoring blaze on wildlife officers, federal. There are federal wildlife officers, but there are state wildlife officers. And these guys, I think, are going to be state. And he has shown up to, yeah, that's right. J. Carr points out that, yeah, he's shown up to every hearing so far, even the one where he didn't have it does seem like a low bond. I think they're probably double dipping him though, Chuck, because remember, he also has the $2,500 bond, right? Isn't that what it was? He also has the bond of, I want to say 2,500 or something out of the we have weights and fish trial, right?
It's 2,500.
But that's on the charges. I'm talking the bond.
Oh shoot.
The bond.
Yeah, they each paid a bond. I can't remember how much it was.
He has a bond out of that case as well, so he stands to lose quite a bit financially if he doesn't show up. But it will be interesting to see if he shows. If I had to suspect he would, because like J. Carr pointed out, 2,500. Okay, very good. DV was raised to 3,500. Okay. Yeah, so you're talking $6,000 total in bond between the two different court dates. You know, it's a good chunk of money, especially now the money's being spent other places. No, you're totally. Yeah, I understand, Coffee. Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, national parks employees, absolutely. Yeah, that they are federal. You get busted doing that stuff in a national park, that's a whole different freaking story. Like hunting in a national park, that kind of thing, you be in deep poo-poo. Just ask those guys that were doing that show, one of the YouTube channels that were doing the where they do the kind of wilderness build on site kind of, I forget what the genre is called, where they go out, they forage for their food, they forage for their shelter, that kind of thing. A couple guys did that in a national park and kind of thing, got rung up by another country. Zen, very good point. Very good point. It's been this way for a while because when I run a bass organization, okay, we had rules that governed everything between the hours of takeoff and come in and before takeoff as far as practice is concerned, right?
Fix the camera.
Huh?
Fix the camera.
Oh, it's yeah. I'm meaning for it to be that way. That way I can see the chat.
Okay.
Sorry guys if I'm over. The way I'm having to do this on my phone so I can see the chat. What was I saying?
I don't know. I distracted you. I'm sorry. I was talking about whenever you were fishing.
Oh yeah, the rules. in our rules, okay, for our tournament rules, you could literally going down, yep, thank you. You could literally go down through the rules, okay? And beside every rule, put a person's name. Because wasn't it the old comedian Bill Engvall that said that warning labels are because people have actually tried that crap? Didn't he use like the, thank you so much, Coffee Cat. I appreciate that. So true. Thank you so much. Like people have actually, you know, it says on preparation, don't take by mouth because people have actually done it. Exactly, is that J Card? Every year we had a rule meeting where people could submit new rules. We would vote on them as a group and put them in or vote them down, right? Every one of them, it was because of some crap that happened that year. And everybody knew it. Somebody submit a rule. Oh, that's because Joe Blow over there was late to weigh in and claimed he wasn't, and 10 people saw him. Yeah, that happens. It happens every freaking time. Your pizza from the box, an idiot burned his kitchen up. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that. So tournament fishing is the same way. So it's been that way for years, and all these tournament rules that have been masked over the generations have been because of either somebody doing something stupid or somebody trying to find a loophole, doing something that was morally wrong in fishing. But because there wasn't a rule, no one said I couldn't do it. And new rules get produced to tidy up old rules because a person saw a loophole. And instead of just doing the right thing and not doing it, they did it anyway. That happens a lot. It really does. So yeah. I wish I could go into them. I wish I could think of a couple off the top of my head. Can you remember like any rules that were over certain people? Don't mention the names, but any rules and
yeah, some kind of communication on the boat, cell phone or satellite radio, some kind of communication on the boat because of emergencies. Yeah.
Oh, that one, yes. Thank you to the wife. I'll tell you a quick story about this. A lot of tournament trails do not allow for communication with other anglers. Like you can't call up a buddy and say, hey, I'm catching them over here. Come over here. We'll trade spots. That's a no-no. That gives an unfair advantage. So there's usually a communication rule in effect that you can't communicate by phone or radio with another angler. If you see somebody on the water, you can ask how they're doing. Not in all trails. In most trails, if I run into one of my buddies and say, hey man, you catch them? Yeah, I got my limit. I got mine too. That's usually okay. Or man, I'm finding them shallow. You can say that too. A lot of times, not all the time. Depends on the specific rules. It's why you must follow that specific trail or club's rules and make sure you follow them to a T. Well, one time we had an instance where it was a February tournament, I think, and we had extreme winds come up in this tournament. When we started, they were forecasted to be like sustained at 35 miles an hour. On this particular lake, the wind was blowing right up the gut of the lake, creating huge rollers. I was president, I told the tournament director, hey dude, I know everybody's here, but I'd call this crap because this is dangerous. It was his first year. He said, you know what? Let me talk with the tournament director from the season prior and see what he says. Let me see here. Okay. Let me clarify that real quick, JCar. You could have a phone in the boat. You couldn't communicate with other anglers. You could have one in case of emergency. However, some folks took it to the extreme. That's kind of what I'm getting at here. We had these extreme winds. The tournament director checked with the guy from the year prior and said, no, we'll be fine. Well, the guy the year prior was former Coast Guard. He would go out to boat and anything. He didn't care. Nothing scared him. He also had the boat to do that. Not everybody in the group had the same length and width of the big behemoth Queen Mary that he had, right? So we get out there, the forecast upswell around the water. It goes from sustained at 35 miles an hour to sustained of 55 miles an hour, gust to 60. We now have 4 to 6 foot rollers over this lake. I called him at one point and said, I understand you're the tournament director and that it's your call. I'm telling you, we shouldn't have done this morning. Do you want to change your mind? Gave him the opportunity. We called it right then, got a hold of everybody, said beach, if you got a beach, stay safe. Don't come across the lake if you don't have to. Call us, we'll come get you. We'll get your boat and your trailer back, et cetera, et cetera. Stay safe. We lost 2 boats on the water that day. Thank God everybody involved was safe. A state park we had launched out of retrieved 2 of our guys that their boat had capsized on the way back in. A couple of other guys from another boat, their boat ran across and oh, okay. Yeah. So basically the other guys ran up on such a shallow beach area that they were able to walk to safety. So they got lucky. But their boat got pushed through old stanchions from our marinas there, old steel stanchions. Their boat got shredded like cheese through a grater. It hit these stanchions and just got destroyed. The other folks were able to retrieve their boat and get it built back up years later. But yeah, we got back to the bank. We had got a hold of everybody but one guy. I'm calling him. Finally, his wife answers the phone. I said, why didn't so-and-so there? He left his phone at home. Now we got one guy in the tournament out there on the water. We can't get a hold of him. Thank God he arrived safe and sound at the end of the day. Scared the crap out of us. So what was the new rule? You don't do the communication between other people, but if you want to show, but you have to have a boat or radio, marine radio, some kind of communication in the boat in case of emergency. So we set that rule. You can put that guy's name beside the rule. You got what I'm saying? That's how it happens. Now, granted, he was used to fishing tournaments that there was no communication, so he just didn't take it with him. He didn't want to be bothered. He owned his own business. He didn't want to get annoyed on tournament days. I get it. But it's not safe. But that's the kind of example I'm talking about where because of people. Did everything just fall out? Can everybody else still hear me? I just got a really weird thing across my screen. If y'all are still there, can you? Okay, still there. Okay, guys, sorry about that. That was weird. It said you're live, and it looked like it cut out. That was weird. We're shut down because some went and torched 60 grand worth of equipment on government land. Ooh. Yes, absolutely. That, and thank you, Donald, too. That absolutely happens. Yeah. People absolutely, they'll absolutely, oh gosh. I'm trying to think how to describe it. Somebody in our area did something similar by damaging a bunch of land and ruining a spot, and they got put to trial for it. And I want to say I had to pay like $5 million in restitution for tearing up some land in fishing. It was pretty ugly. They had to pay a real big penny in restitution. But it happens. You get people destroying lakes for different reasons. Some want all the vegetation taken out because it makes the lake look ugly. Now, understanding vegetation is what helps not only give the lake oxygen for your fish, but helps filter it and keep it clean. Then they have this muddy koi pond, and they're like, but the lake's dirty. Well, because you killed all the vegetation because you wanted a bunch of grass carp and tilapia introduced that eat all the vegetation. You wonder why you have a mud pit. That's the difference between homeowners that live on the lake to live on the lake and those that care about the environment and want good fishing. Of a huge lake there, flooded town to create. Yeah, after a while you can, because quite frankly, that's most of the lakes in the U.S., unfortunately. One of my favorite artists, Don Henley, grew up on a lake, or grew up where his house was, the house he grew up in. Good old Don Henley of the Eagles. where his house is underwater. It has recently got worse because there's new lakes coming up everywhere because of the need for more water, because of the need for overpopulation. And with the droughts and everything, the country's occurring in kind of a cyclic fashion. Yeah, they're going to need just even more waterways. And I know we have some people coming and going. Quick recap for those that might have just come in. Jacob Runyon, just a quick reset. Jacob Runyon granted, yes, absolutely. Jacob Runyon was granted permission by courts over the We Have Weights and Fish and the domestic violence and unlawful restraint cases to travel from February 21st through February 28th to go to Aruba. It was a pre-planned trip with his family that happened before these two cases kicked off. His bond apparently was raised a little bit to help facilitate his returning. We have looked it up. There is an extradition treaty with Aruba. So if he doesn't come back, they will go get him from paradise and drag him back. So that's what we have there. He has, of course, the off-the-water charges, like I just mentioned. One case of domestic violence, one of unlawful restraint. He also, Chase Kaminsky, also has a case of harassment and stalking on his, where he followed a woman too closely, tailgating her to where if she would have hit her brakes, he would have collided with her. She got scared, drove home. He followed her home, demanded she got out of her car. This is all according to reports. She locked her doors, called police. Police got there, took care of it. He also apparently sent her text messages again later that were very harassing and threatening. At one point, hacking into her Instagram and her Snapchat account, somehow gaining access to those. I don't know, quote, hacking, but, gaining access to them somehow. And posing as her on Snapchat. At one point in a text message telling her that she could kiss her ass goodbye. So both of these guys have considerable off-the-water issues that they're dealing with. Runyon's other court case will be on March 24th, just 3 days prior to the We Have Weights and Fish. So it will be interesting to see how all this shakes out. And yeah, it's going to be wild, folks. But man, I can't believe this has lasted 2 hours, mainly because I'm just chasing after all the squirrels. I'm having way too much. Yeah, very well could be. And it may end up being a condition of it for both. Who knows? Both these guys may end up with a little bit of, anger management kind of classes going. Go rest. Yeah, you could tell I'm getting tired. Guys, I appreciate so much you watching a disabled old fart. 18 folks in the chat, I think at 1.20. Time goes by. You're damn right, doctor. It sure does. Watching an old disabled guy sit in front of his phone babble. 27 at one point. No kidding. Holy hell. Thank you, Doctor Who Design. Again, a special shout out to Doctor Who Design for all he's done for the channel, and JCAR for all of JCAR's research and help. Doctor Who has been a huge mentor on how I handle everything. All the website optimization. He did the channel artwork. He did the logo. Right up here, got a little bit of merch. And thank you so much. It has been a fun way to spend a Sunday afternoon, getting my feet wet on my very first live. And you guys are all awesome. It means so much to me that you watched. And I'm sure folks are going to get the replay of this and go, where the hell is this rambling idiot going? But I get distracted easy. It is what it is. That, and I love interacting with people. I feel like I'm having a conversation with all you folks at one time, and it's just awesome. Thank you so much, Coffee Cat, and thank you, JCar. I appreciate all you. Thank you, Mr. True, for showing up well. Thank you, JCar. Thank you. Mr. True, winner of our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Glad he was able to show up. Several folks that have been longtime subscribers from early days, and frequent commenters in the comment section. I do look at all the comments, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Robert. You have a great night as well, and enjoy that fishing out your neck of the woods. And let me know how that's going with that box. I love that freaking 3700 Pro Thin, that Edge Pro. Oh my gosh, that terminal thing. Yeah, I have so many of those now, it's ridiculous. So,
Thanks to Zen and Husky.
oh yes, thank you, Zen, and Husky as well. Chuck Wood, my wife's.
And what is it, the likes? Or
Oh yeah.
what are their names again?
I know I'm going to be forgetting some people, and I apologize. Forgive me, I'm horrible. Thank you, Coffee Cat. Thank you. Press that like button. And Jay Carano, get this. Yeah, eat, squawk, poop, repeat. Yep. Reference to a seagull, by the way. Reference to a seagull. Eat, squawk, poop, repeat. That's a seagull for you. And definitely please hit like, share, subscribe. And I will say button, not button. And Jay Carr will get that inside joke. I know why I said hit the like button. 2 T's. But you guys are awesome. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much. It's so encouraging. Oh, you're very welcome, Robert. You're very welcome. I hope you get a lot of good use out of it. I love those bad boys. Those are awesome. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. It means so much that so many of you showed up to my very first live. Rudimentary equipment. I'm trying to get more, but that takes money, and I'll figure it out along the way. But I'm so glad to have you guys here along the way. Thank you so much again to Dr. Who and J Car. J Car has been great helping research. Fantastic. Please tell Captain, the puppy dog, Mr. Captain Jack, I say hello, and that his treaties are in the mail. I have bribed him sufficiently and hope that he enjoys each and every one of them. So thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And love you guys. I've got the best viewers around. Y'all proved it to me. This was a fantastic encouragement. It means the absolute world. Go. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Have a great week. And, let me see this. I guess there's only one way out of this thing. Well, until next time, folks, keep it wet.